In the film, I play Mamie Till, and Mamie Till was the progenitor of the civil rights movement. She made a significant choice for the Black community of 1955 in America. And she made a significant choice for the greater American and global community by having an open casket wake for her son, who was tragically killed, Emmett Till. That choice was significant in that it forced America, it forced the world to witness what was happening to Black people in the South at this time. It forced people to consider their history, to consider Southern history, to consider the manner in which Black people had been treated. And she did so in the midst of a substantial amount of terror before she even made the choice to move to travel rather from Chicago to Mississippi to witness the trial. And so she was a deeply, deeply brilliant and brave woman who challenged America and who challenged the world in the way they see Black people and the way that Black people were that were treated at this time. Initial conversations with Chinoya were surrounded around what it meant to be a Black mother in general, because it's such a weight to take on this kind of an experience. This is a historical moment that changed the trajectory for so many people. It is why Rosa Parks, talks about she did what she did. This is why this is Dr. King remembering. This is James Baldwin remembering. Everybody put themselves in the place of, or the potential of the place of Emmett, because they saw that could happen to them. And so our conversation was about what it means to be a Black mother and the wailing that experience would bring. What does it mean to shoulder that weight? What does it mean to be strong? Right? So that's all of the initial, the surface experience, right? And what does it mean to show the humanity of someone with so much of a symbolism, a public figure status? We talked about those two things because it's important to show the public and the private nature of who Mamie Till was in making the choices that she did, and in living the life that she did before and thereafter the experience. It's important to tell the story of Emmett Till through these difficult family discussions and challenges, because we have to understand that it's not easy coming to these choices, to understand that there is an inner turmoil, an inner tension that Mamie was experiencing, that any person who has to undergo such a difficulty has to deal with. And so it's also just important to understand her humanity. She didn't come to these decisions lightly. She had to consider, and someone who is coming unto their own independence. She had a reliance upon her mother. She had a difficulty with, her family dynamic with her father. And so having this conversation with these two people, and with her love at the time, who would eventually become her husband, Gene Mobley, like having a full 360-degree perspective on how someone makes the choices that they do, to show that is a bold, brave thing. That is the significance of coming into those private qualities of her life, so that we can get a deep dive on the true nature of her humanity. Chinoya it's a submergence in all things of the film, in all things of who you are, tasked with portraying. We just did everything as detailed as we possibly could. And we're always open and available to each other. We sought out every beat. We sought out as much information as we could, painting the picture of the environment of Mississippi, painting the picture of the environment of Chicago, painting the picture of what does it mean to be in the kind of, maternal and fraternal sibling relationship of Mamie and Emmett. We wanted a full understanding of who she was, and in order to do that, we just went deep under and stayed there for a long time. And so that's what it's like to work with Shinoya. I think everyone came extremely devoted. And that's, there's a weight, there's a solitary weight that has to happen in any kind of role, but especially with this kind, because she did feel such an aloneness, right? And yet everyone in her community that she already knew and was bringing spiritually from Chicago down into Mississippi, those people who she began to know, who were there intentionally for her, who deeply, deeply honored and respected the choices that she made for her own healing and for her community, the global community, the American community, the Black community's healing. They surrounded her with a kind of love. Oh, Jalen embodied Emmett from the beginning, right? From the first read with him that I encountered with him, because he's just charismatic. And the first thing he says, I just got to say, Miss Danielle, you have a beautiful smile. And I'm like, excuse me? And and that kind of, that kind of lightness, that kind of, I just feel good in the world and in my spirit and in my body is the kind of thing that Emmett embodied, right? It's somebody who Mamie brought up to be his full self at all times. And I think Jalen's mother did the same thing with him, and that's communicated. And you just naturally and automatically saw that was who he was. So that spirit of playfulness, that spirit of charisma and full bodied, Black joy, to have people feel the humanity, to feel a kind of intimacy, to feel a kind of awareness that they didn't have before. And hopefully that does what Mamie Till wanted it to do, to continue to inform, to educate, to enlighten, to embolden people to fight for and to snatch their knowledge, to their history, because it's imperative that they do so, and that Emmett's legacy persists. That's all she wanted. She wanted a film so that people would know that, so that she wouldn't have to bear it alone. Because going out on the road at that time and letting people know her experience and telling people about Emmett, it was therapeutic for her. And I think it will be a kind of continuance of the therapy, and a therapy for me, and everybody who's a part of this film, to know that the work continues and it does what she sought for it to do.